Hi, and welcome back to Auto Insania. Here we are again, working on an F102 DKW Auto Union. Now, if you've not been to the channel before, welcome. My name's Cliff. This is my project car, and this is my project channel, my first foray into YouTube. So if you'd like to catch up with some of the earlier videos in the series, then please have a look and see what we've done. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the floor pan internally of the car. We're going to be pulling up some carpets, removing some interior, and basically seeing what we've got to work with underneath. Okay, let's go. So our initial look at the floor pan is going to be a quick look under the floor mats. Now, this is a 1960s car, and in those days they weren't very plush. They didn't give you a lot of sound deadening, and which in some ways is a good thing because it does promote rust if you've got a lot of felt under the floor. But let's have a look under the front carpet mat and see what we've got. As I say, there's not a lot to remove here, so let's dig in and see what we're looking at. Now, I must admit I've had a look at this previously. Right, okay, sorry about that, let's just pull this out, let's see where we're at. So off camera, we've removed the side sill trim, nothing horrible lurking, this is all just mushy goo, wiring run there, I think I'm seeing a hole here, no, that looks like it's factory, okay. Now the seat itself is going to have to come out in a minute, and that's on an Allen key, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so that's the first piece out, so nothing has jumped out so far. Now you may notice that I've actually put some black undersealing on the outside of the outer sill, just to keep the winter out, because we are working without a garage, which is a bit inconvenient. We are looking for storage, and I'd say somewhere to do the work properly. But let's carry on with what we're doing. So we fast forwarded through some dull bits again, just removed those couple of self-tappers holding this side mat panel on. Now, so far, if I get my pokey device out, this looks terrible, but I think we probably caught this sort of the point of no return, really. We're going to keep pulling the underseal and the felting out, but everything so far seems to be fairly localised and surfacey. So let's continue. And we've started pulling the inner mat out on the front panel. Now this is where I've got my worries, because the underseal underneath this, or the underfelt, seems to be quite damp. That's a worry, because that's where water pools and stays against the bodywork, and we get corrosion. But we're going to pull this all out and have a look. See you in a minute. So we're having a proper dig into the front arch here, and I know right now this is pretty bloody terrible, excuse my French. However, you can hear that we've got some quite surface rust, but also I hope you can see we've got white paint under here. I don't know what they use for this matting. It is very tight fiberboard, it's glued on, but it has done its job very well. Look at the white paint under here. As I say, we've got some surface rust, but so far, not one hole. This is a little sketchy over here, where these two bits meet, but it needed to come out to dry it out. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And in this case, I'm so glad we got into this today, because any more wet weather, as we've been having, would have just made it worse. So we're going to continue peeling this off. We're just getting under it with a screwdriver, which is probably the wrong way. I don't know what they stuck it down with, but by Lord does it stuck. But again, it's done an amazing job further up the bulkhead of keeping the rust out. It's only really where it's met the bottom of the bulkhead where I suspect the screen's been leaking, as old cars do tend to, especially if they've been sat around for a long time. The heat's being used to dry them out. Friend's got a 8-year-old Fiat 500 that if it isn't used for a week or so, it's damp carpets. It's a brand new car, well not a brand new car, but you know, a modern car with modern materials. And it still gets damp. So cars, when they're not in use, especially in this case, I think this car was imported into the UK from Sweden in, I think 2011 or 2012. Was used a little bit, was never re-registered, know the paperwork, but that's better, but never got registered on British plates, and then became a stalled project. So I'm going to take it up as far as the top of the bulkhead here, because we can see the metal's good here. There's no real point going up behind where the screen is. But hopefully, as I say, we can dry this out, bit of rust killer, and let it sort of dry for a little while. Hopefully, it's a relatively sound car. Oh yeah, we're going to scrape all this out as much as we can. Basically get it as dry as we can, let it dry. Got a nice sunny day today, despite being the last day of November 2025. We're going to let it dry. Then we're going to apply some rust killer to it, some proper rust killer this time, not just red lead it, because this really needs to be killed. This is not, you know, dry metal, this is wet. So we'll get a dustpan of brush, clean this out, wire brush down as far as we can, get as much of this sort of cladding off as we can. So it's very weird stuff. I hate to think what's in it. I believe all sorts of asbestos and nasties. And we'll get it all prepped and ready for basically drying out and covering it with something else, and then basically, you know, that's that side, this side done. And let's hope that the other side is just as good. Okay, on we go. Keep moving with the project. And so we can see we've now scraped everything back just in front of the seats. Now underneath most of this bitumen, and some of the thickness of this bitumen is unbelievable. It's about ½ an inch, well, yeah, probably about ¼ of an inch thick at the centre point where it joins where would be the transmission tunnel. But just listen to this metal. Doesn't it just give you hope, ladies and gentlemen? We've got a lot of surface rust. Probably worse where the floor pan meets the bulkhead. But that nice hollow tinny sound is good metal. I'd say plenty of surface. She's a lot more solid than we'd hoped for, which is amazing, because I bought this car completely sight unseen, no pictures underneath it, no pictures, well, pictures under the bonnet, but the gentleman had it before me, said it is what it is. As I say, we didn't pay huge amounts for this. We didn't pay nothing, you know, it was an expensive enough car, plus a lot of shipping because it came from Brighton, if I remember rightly. But as I say, what we're finding so far, most of the time with this car, the surprises are good ones. I mean, I was really concerned about this section here, where the bulkhead meets the floor, because, as I say, the damp in the carpet, or coming out from under the carpet, was very, very noticeable. But you look up in the bulkhead here, I mean, the paintwork under here is like new. the white paint. So we've got, but even when where this joins, I have yet to find a hole. So the plan is to get a bag, collect all this stuff, bring it the shop vac, and get rid of all this muck, and then see exactly what we've got left at the end. Isn't it fun? And here we have it. I think you'll say, or agree with me, that that is a result. So this is basically clean back now to the floor pan. Now, you're looking at a 60-year-old car here that hasn't been driven for about 13, 14 years. It's lived outside, as far as I know. Never been garaged or anything else. But look at this. This is the original undercoat under here. And it just drums. As I say, we've got some surface corrosion to buff back and basically use some rust killer on there. But the pillars, I mean, that's the thing with this car. It is, just look at the screen pillars. Go look at a Capri. I feel like I'm down on Fords again. But go look at a Capri from, say, 75 instead of 65. So it'll be, 10 years newer than this. And you'd have droopy doors, bad pillars, rotten floor pans. 65-year-old German car? Yeah. Actually, really, really good. I mean, this is the inner sill structure, box section here. And it is literally, we're talking original paint. Super ooper duper solid. Let's hope we get lucky like this on the other side. So, not wanting to subject you to another 3/4 of an hour of scraping, bashing and walloping about, I thought I'd get on with the job. Now this is what would be the driver's side in Britain, but it's the passenger side if you have to be from foreign parts. And what have we got? Oh look, yet more solid metal. The most amazing bit is look at this. This is just in front of the seatlet, and it is like new underneath the mastic. So, same story. Lucky again. Good inner sills, good posts, good place where it meets the bulkhead to the floor, which was where I was worried about. It turned out surface rust. Aren't we lucky, ladies and gentlemen? 60-year-old car that's been stood around so long, and this is what we're finding. Again, I know I'm going to regret saying this, but pretty much all the surprises with this car so far have been good. Finding missing parts that I thought I was going to have to locate from abroad in the boot in cardboard boxes. I think missing literally like one item, which is the oil tank. But again, I've got a contact for that. Looking at the wet, soggy ends of the floor and thinking, great, what's going to be underneath there? Pulling it up today and finding that what we've got is actually the structure of a very, very solid car. I know to some of you this may look horrible, but trust me, in classic car terms, this is amazing. I was expecting to see the hole and be able to see the gravel in my driveway underneath this. But here we are. And what we can see is good usable floor that will rub back, be treated by rust treatments. Talking of which, if anybody's watching this, and I know this is a bit of a grab, but if anybody's watching this and you work for a rust preventative treatment company, we'd love to have your sponsorship. We could definitely use your product, as I say. So yeah, if you're out there, get in contact with us. Same with the 6-volt battery that we require for the vehicle. They're not cheap. So if there's a battery company watching this, or anybody who works for one, we'd love to have a battery. If you feel like throwing one in, I know it's a bit of a cash grab for a young channel, but here we are, and we're happily emblazing you all across our forthcoming videos. But as I say, I think once we've cleaned up this today, and we can give you a last shot of this side as well, I think that's going to be all we're going to do today. But it's been, touch wood, a good day as far as the rest is concerned, and we can't say fairer than that. And there we have it. Again, some surface rust to deal with, but as a rule, this car is very, very solid, and I'm so happy, which means this journey can continue. If we got into this and it had been, you know, really, really bad, then this car would have become a parts car. And, you know, panels for these things are really rare, and it would have probably been snapped up as pieces. And that seems such a shame in this car. It's, you know, just look at this. Look at this floor pan. It is just... you know, it's a very sound car. A good rub down, some rust preventative. Not sure what we're going to use yet, but we'll work on that. And this floor will be good to go. So in our next instalment, we're going to be removing the seats and taking this back further along, working our way back towards the rear of the car, and hoping that we get as lucky as we have in the front. Not a bad day's work, I don't think. And the story continues. And so, that's where we're ending things for today. So we've, like I say, made really good progress in the front floor. I found that we're actually dealing with a very solid car, which is great news. As I say, this car was a complete punt, and we didn't know what we were getting when we bought it. We took a chance, a really big one. And touch wood, it's paying off so far. Like I say, next time, going to be seat removal, rear carpet, unseal being peeled off, and see what we've got in the rear. Let's hope we get as lucky again. Until then, this is the end of part 4, and we hope we see you again in part 5. So if you're new to the channel, let's say like and subscribe and catch up on what's been going on. Other than that, we'll see you again. Thanks.